You are listening to the Novel Writing Podcast, episode 158. I'm your host, Colleen Mitchell. Grab a cup, cozy up, and let's get to writing. Today's episode is titled Reasons to Write the Blurb Early, but I really wanted to name it Reasons to Not Procrastinate on Writing the Blurb. That was too long, but regardless, here we are to discuss why you shouldn't be putting off writing your blurb, even though it's admittedly one of the hardest and most disliked things to do as a writer, besides marketing. Blurbs are the back of book description. It's the Amazon sales copy. They're the words that compel a potential reader to take that next step in the process of becoming a true fan. They're marketing tools. And while that makes it sound like something you do at the end of the entire book writing process, when you start writing your blurb early on, you end up understanding your story way better. The first draft blurbs can literally be just a page or two word vomiting the summary of the story. So reason number one, writing a blurb early on means that you better understand the structure and direction of the story. That's their only purpose in the beginning. Nobody will see those first drafts of the word vomit blurb, and that gives you freedom to reveal secrets and twisty bits without worrying about spoiling it for someone. This is not the outline, but it's a summary of the major points of the story. You will want to write it through the lens of appealing to a potential reader, but not agonize so much about what to include or not. A general rule of thumb for the blurb is that it's okay to reveal anything that happens in the first act of the story and hint or tease at the stakes and obstacles faced throughout the remainder. Reason number two, it will help identify plot points that are missing or need work. If you take the time to study blurb structure from bestsellers or comps in your genre, or use a blurb formula like those taught by Kindlepreneur or others, you could find out that you are at risk of having a sagging middle, or that the stakes aren't high enough, or that you don't have enough obstacles. By using your blurb as part of your outlining process, which is how we teach it in the 60-Day Novel Writing Challenge, you're better prepared to have a solid first draft than if you wait until the end to write the blurb. Reason number three, it will excite you to work on the book. For me, having a blurb version of the story that I want to write really motivates me because I want to read the story that it's teasing. We hold blurb workshops every quarter inside our coaching and critique group, and a few weeks ago, we also held a call on how to write a better blurb. I wrote an example blurb using tips from Julie C. Gilbert's book, 5 Steps to Better Blurbs, and now I'm stoked to work on a story that I essentially can't touch for a couple of years until my main series is done. Losing motivation is the number one reason I see writers stop writing. While motivation itself is like a hummingbird, and we've talked about this before, it's very real to get in a slump and not feel like writing and not have the energy to get back into it. So having established motivators ready to go, like a blurb reminding you of why you're excited to write, is a great way to help yourself get through periods of low motivation. Reason number four, it means that polishing off that final blurb is going to be 1,000% easier. If you refine and revise your blurb every time you finish a draft, then it will be much easier to put the stamp of approval on the final version because it won't take nearly as much effort as trying to write the whole thing at the very end. Even if your story changes with each draft, having blurbs with each one is a great way to keep track of the changes and also develop your own style for blurbs. Some authors will use the same structure for all of their blurbs, and a great way to come up with your style is to make blurb writing and revising part of your overall process. Again, blurb writing is a tough subject for many writers just because of how hard it is to shrink an entire novel into 150 to 250 words that appropriately hooks a reader without giving away the ending. But I promise it's a skill you can learn that's worth learning and will not only help you write stronger stories from the beginning, but also get better at the language you'll use when people ask what your book is about. And if you want help with blurbs, check out our coaching and critique group. In there, we have that recorded call on how to write better blurbs and the quarterly blurb workshop to get direct feedback from myself, our editor Lauren, and the other members who basically mimic your potential readers. You can find more information about the coaching and critique group in the description. That's it for today's episode. Thanks for joining me, and remember, the first draft is supposed to be garbage. Thanks for listening to the Novel Writing Podcast. If you're ready to stop struggling and start finishing your novel, check out the 60-Day Novel Writing Challenge. It's a step-by-step program designed for solo writers to complete their first draft with clarity and focus. Visit the link in the description to learn more.